Chrome extensions. We all use them, right? They're these tiny little power-ups for our browser, but they're also code that's running with some pretty incredible access to our digital lives. So today, we're going to go on a bit of a journey from building our very first super simple extension all the way to understanding the very real dangers that can hide in plain sight.
So here's the plan. First, we'll break down what an extension actually is. Then, we're going to get our hands dirty and build one ourselves. After that, we'll see how you'd get it onto the Chrome Web Store. And then we'll get to the really important stuff, understanding the risks and learning a simple 2-minute check to keep yourself safe.
Okay, so let's get right into it and look under the hood. Before we can even talk about the risks, we have to understand the basics. What is a Chrome extension really made of? Well, at their heart, they're not some kind of mysterious, complicated app. They're actually built with the exact same stuff that makes up the websites you visit every day. You've got HTML for the structure, CSS to make it look nice, and JavaScript to make it do things. Just think of them as tiny websites that have been given special powers to mess with your browser. And an extension isn't just one single piece of code. It's usually made up of 3 core parts. You have the service worker, which is kind of like the brain of the operation, just running in the background. Then you have content scripts, and this is the powerful part. It's code that actually gets injected right into the web pages you're looking at. And finally, you have the pop-up, which is just that little interface you see when you click the icon in your toolbar. Now, the glue that holds all of this together is one critical file, the manifest.json. It's the blueprint. It's the file that tells Chrome everything it needs to know, the name, the version, what permissions it needs, and how all those other parts connect. Every single extension has to have one of these, no exceptions. All right, enough theory. Let's make this real. We're going to build a functioning extension right now. It is way easier than you think. Believe it or not, this is all you need to get started. Just an empty folder on your computer with 2 simple text files inside. The first one is that manifest blueprint we just talked about, and the second is just a basic HTML file for our pop-up. And this is the code for that manifest file. See? It's pretty straightforward. We're just telling Chrome we're using Manifest version 3, we give it a name and a version, and then the action part just says, hey, when the user clicks my icon, show them the hello.html file. That's it. Now, to see this thing in action, you don't even need to publish it. Just go to chrome.extensions in your browser, flick on the developer mode switch, click Load Unpacked, and just point it to the folder you made. And boom, just like that, you're a Chrome extension developer. So our little Hello World extension is up and running on our computer. That's cool. But how do we get it out there, into the hands of millions of users on the official Chrome Web Store? Well, the process is actually pretty simple. You register as a developer, you zip up your folder files, and you upload it. Then comes the part where you have to write your marketing copy for the store listing, fill out your privacy info, and then you just hit submit and send it off to Google's review team. To get started with all this, you will need to register for a developer account, and that comes with a one-time $5 fee. Google says this tiny barrier to entry actually helps cut down on the amount of spam and just plain malicious stuff that gets submitted. So once you submit, it goes into a review queue. If your extension is really simple, it might get approved in just a couple of hours. But if you're asking for some really powerful sensitive permissions, you should expect a much deeper review that can take several days. That's when Google's team really digs in to check for any malicious code or policy violations. And that right there brings us to the most important part of this whole explainer. We've seen how easy it is to build and publish an extension. Now let's talk about the incredible power they can wield and why understanding permissions is your first and your best line of defense. Okay, this is where you really have to pay attention. The difference in risk here is just massive. The active tab permission, that's pretty low risk. It only lets the extension do something after you click on it. But look at all URLs. That is a huge red flag. It lets an extension read or change data on every single website you visit. And the cookies permission, a malicious extension could use that to literally hijack your login sessions. The risk is incredibly high. Now, this brings us to a really crucial security upgrade called Manifest v3. The single most important change here, and I can't stress this enough, is that v3 extensions are forbidden from executing remote code. In the old v2 days, a developer could get a clean extension approved and then later have it secretly download and run malicious code from their own server. v3 closes that dangerous loophole completely. Now, all the code has to be inside the package that Google reviews, which is a huge win for user safety. And this isn't just some theoretical risk. Let's look at the cautionary tale of the Great Suspender.
This was a beloved, highly recommended extension that over 2 million people used to save memory.
And this is a perfect illustration of the danger. The original trusted developer sold the extension. A few months later, the new unknown owner pushed an update. And that update, which was sent to all 2 million users, had hidden code that tracked people and executed commands from a remote server. It took months for the community to uncover what was going on, and eventually Google had to step in and forcibly uninstall it from everyone's browser. Yeah, the story of the Great Suspender is alarming, but it gives us some powerful lessons. So let's move to our final section and see how all this builds into an actionable checklist you can use to protect yourself. Here is your 5-point, 2-minute safety check. First, check the developer's reputation. Do they have a website or a real identity? Second, audit the permissions. Ask yourself, does this simple note-taking app really need to read data on every website I visit? Third, analyze the reviews critically. Don't just look at the high score, sort by most recent, and always read the 1-star complaints. Fourth, check for recent updates. An extension that hasn't been touched in over a year can be a risk. And finally, remember, the Great Suspender, millions of users does not guarantee safety.
And these are the absolute deal breakers. If an update suddenly asks for brand new, sweeping permissions, that is a massive red flag. If you learn that an extension has been sold to a new, unknown developer, be extremely cautious. And if you ever start seeing weird ads or your search results look different, an extension is almost always the culprit. Uninstall it immediately.
Ultimately, Chrome extensions are incredibly powerful tools, but that power requires responsibility, not just from the developers, but from us as users. This is code running with the highest level of privilege inside our most used application. So the next time you install one, take those 2 minutes. Ask the hard questions, because it is always worth knowing who holds the keys to your browser.